Hello everyone, welcome to Global Government News. Today is Friday, December 16th, 2011. I'm Darko. This is the final part for today, part 3. I'm going to go into eugenics and Big Brother or surveillance. You can check out the other two videos for today here on GGNonline.com or on YouTube. It's ddarko2012. You can put your email address and get updates there. And if you'd like to help me out financially, there's a donate option right there, or in YouTube's video description, where all the links that I cover today will be right there for you. So go in there and check that out. Okay, so indefinite military detention measure passes on Bill of Rights Day, and I can assure you that that was not a coincidence. They do a lot of these things with the numbers of the bills, little number games that they play, but especially the day that it's done. The Senate passed a defense bill Thursday that authorizes indefinite detentions of American terrorism suspects, which could basically be anybody, coincidentally acting on the controversial measure of the 220th anniversary of the ratification of Bill of Rights. So they're basically letting you know that you don't have any more rights anymore, that the Constitution is dead. And this is the National Defense Authorization Act, passed 86 sellouts to 13 and is expected to be signed quickly by President Obama, who withdrew a veto threat against the bill Wednesday. That's right. And the only thing that he could say is, oh, and all those rumors about, send them off to Guantanamo, that's not true. So I guess the good thing is to look forward to is that you're not going to go to Guantanamo, a FEMA camp in Cuba. You'll go to a FEMA camp maybe in the United States, or, like I said before, in Eastern Europe. So you have that to look forward to. U.S. Senate wants the entire USA to be a battleground. Well, they did it. It says the bill just passed, effectively ending the Bill of Rights in America as being called the most traitorous act ever witnessed in the Senate. And the language of the bill is being cleverly designed to make you think that it doesn't apply to Americans, but toward the end of the bill, it essentially says that it can apply to Americans, quote, if we want to. And finishing up here, it's outright declaring war against the American taxpayer, people, sheeple, whatever. It says here, if you have not yet woken up to the reality of the police state we've been warning you about, I hope you realize we are fast running out of time once this bill becomes law, which it has. You have no rights whatsoever in America, no due process, no First Amendment speech rights, and no right to remain silent. Nothing. Moving on, Congress authorizes offensive military action in cyberspace. So there's cyberspace has been deemed a battleground as well. Congress has given the U.S. military a green light to conduct offensive military activities in cyberspace. Quote, Congress affirms that the Department of Defense has the capability and upon direction of our Fuhrer may conduct offensive operations in cyberspace to defend our homeland, the nation, our corporation that we all slave away for, allies and interests. We have this, the blanket authorization for offensive cyber operations is conditional on the compliance with the law of armed conflict and the War Powers Resolution, which mandated congressional consultation and decisions to go to war. And it goes in here, and it's according to the Congressional Research Service, quote, debate continues on whether using the War Powers Resolution is effective as a means of assuring congressional participation in decisions, i.e. the American people who are being represented, which they're not really. And it says that these decisions might get the United States involved in a significant military conflict. Next up, we have Al-Qaeda will enter the cyber world, or the battleground, warns former CIA terrorism chief, and well, they head up Al-Qaeda, so they would know. Cops target climate-sceptics, bloggers in 3 countries, hardware seized in UK, feds request evidence in America. And it says here, police have targeted at least 4 climate bloggers in 3 countries. And it says here, taking computers and networking equipment from a science blogger in the UK. Goes on here, it says that a digital content manager at the University of Leeds posted that 6 police officers identifying themselves as being from Norfolk Police and the Metropolitan Force entered his home at midnight and took away 2 laptops and a router. Go down here and they use this video. You can go check it out. The Audi 2010 green car Super Bowl commercial. The green police are presumed not to be involved. And this is no joke because they're actually calling for a climate court with climate police. in the past 2 years. So this is a big deal. Could hackers develop a computer virus to infect the human mind? Synthetic biology is out accelerating evolution. Experts say biocrime today is like computer crime in the 80s. Viruses could be used to influence behavior. We may have to learn how to counterattack one of the most powerful technologies in the world. And it's based on the threat of hackers as usual. But what's scary is if they can hack into the human mind with a computer virus, and I just covered this, is it possible that they can hack in and not download skills, but the opposite, take skills away, turn you into a basically a zombie? I mean, most people are zombies already at this point in time with predictive programming, brainwashing, and that. But what if they could do that? Kind of like a reverse downloading of skills, like the Matrix, where they could actually suck information just by tapping in your brain and thus your consciousness and basically acquiring all of your thoughts. I think that the technology already exists, and I think they use it in people's dreams most of the time. Hidden industry dupes social media users, and of course that goes both ways. I just want to point that out. They're extracting information from you, and then they're downloading information into you while you're sleeping. Stuart Swirlow believes that it's actually like there's a certain time for it. I don't know how it works around the world, but here in the U.S. it would be between 2 and 5 a.m. So that's the prime downloading period. Hidden industry dupes social media users. Paying people to influence discussions in social media is big business in China. And says influencing public opinion with fake grassroots activity is known as astroturfing. So and you have bloggers and stuff like that going through the net, especially on YouTube. And, I'm sure that there's people that are paid to go in there and try to bash people like me or anybody else that's out here talking about this stuff. And like I said before, I actually have more respect for some of the elites, right? My quote, enemy, right? I have more respect for them than I do trolls and that, people who get paid to do stuff like that. Microsoft to IE6 dead browser walking. Says here, known in the past for taking a soft punch when it comes to forcing users to update their browsers, Microsoft's pulling off the kid gloves and going for a bullet to the head. They're going to start forcing people coming in January to update from older versions of Internet Explorer if you have automatic updates, blah, blah, blah. And there's a follow-up article, Microsoft to start silent upgrades to Internet Explorer. Like they don't already do that with those updates that just totally jack up your computer. And then you turn off automatic updates and they still do it. Isn't it nice of them? And, I've tried Linux, but it's just not for me. I'm not computer savvy enough. IBM system monitors food supply chains in China. IBM is helping a state-owned firm to monitor food safety in the country by building a new system meant to prevent tainted foods from being sold to customers. Well, that's not going to stop. That's the eugenics, guys. Come on. That's why they do it. That's why they put this stuff in the food. And IBM, we all know, what helped with categorizing and keeping track of the Holocaust victims, the Jews. So DNA hackers, synthetic biology, weaponized virus, zero-day exploit to infect your brain like Gattaca, the movie. Future hacking crimes could take a decidedly sinister twist, not hacking to breach systems, but your brains, bodies, and behaviors. This DNA hacking goes way beyond potentially using police bees to bust biohackers or even storing unhackable data in a box of bio-encrypted bacteria. Said it's not science fiction to hack insulin pumps or using jamming signals to stop hackers from lethal pacemaker attacks. What? I just don't believe that it's that big of a threat. I mean, honestly, dude, I don't think people are that evil. I mean, what do hackers have to get out of that by doing something like that? I think that's just scaremongering. Because, like I said, but we know that the biggest terrorists are the governments usually. Not so much the governments, it's just the governments being used, all the infrastructure that's being paid by the tax slaves, and then you have these shadow governments, these black governments, these secret police that are out there doing their little thing as well. But it makes sense because the government usually hires these hackers. Actually, I just covered that about a convention of hiring hackers. But now bioengineering and security futurists are warning that the day is coming when criminals and bioterrorists hunt for vulnerabilities that will give a new meaning to zero-day exploits. In the future, a weaponized virus will aim to infect you, your brain and body biology, not just your computer and mobile device. And for what I've seen and heard from the movers and shakers and that, it just seems like this is the way the wind's blowing, and I don't think it's really going to change. I hope it doesn't get to that point, but it it seems like we're moving into that era of like the Matrix and that, where it's going to be a part of life. Age of criminal responsibility too low, experts say. Advances in neuroscience suggest the age of criminal responsibility, 10 in England, Wales, and Northern Ireland, might be too low, according to a study. So as most people nowadays are actually kind of like just grown-up adults, it says here that age 10, parts of the brain connected with decision-making judgment are still developing, says a study. So again, no responsibility. Brain scans should not be used in court for now. Should offender's sentence be decided on the basis of a brain scan? Ooh, so yeah, if you have a problem, you can have your sentence reduced on the grounds that their behavior could be explained by abnormalities in the brains and genes. You see where this is going, guys? This really is a brave new world that we're in and heading towards deeper into. Oral flu vaccine on the horizon. So results from a new study suggested that an oral flu vaccine may be more effective than traditional shots in prevention of the seasonal flu. And of course, what they're spraying you, which is another way of doing that too. And then you have WHO plans for zero malaria deaths. So that's because you have big eugenics man Bill Gates going around basically talking about releasing flies and mosquitoes as a form of forced vaccination in people and that, but also actually genetically modifying these things so that they no longer procreate. So that's just, man playing God again. Feds mark North Carolina vaccine plant ready for flu outbreak. So they're ready for something. Maybe a false flag biotech. North Carolina vaccine plant is ready to gear up to fight a flu pandemic should one strike in the United States. State and federal officials on Monday marked the Novartis plant. Novartis and Holly Springs is ready to react if there's a serious flu outbreak, and plenty of money to be made as well. Just like the arms and defense in the wars industry, is economy best birth control? U.S. dips again. I covered this before. So is economy best birth control? Let's see. Record number of Americans are unmarried. Barely half of American adults are married. A record low for the country. A new analysis of census data finds. So another thing is the economy can be used for eugenics. That was my point. To have, so people have less people, because the elites in that, and a lot of people that believe in global warming believe in overpopulation, and I kind of sign with John Lennon on there as far as it being a myth. But either way, a record number of Americans are unmarried, so now they're not getting married. Bullying husbands could face court for emotional abuse as domestic violence laws are tightened. So it's like I said before, a lot of these husbands are fighting, women are fighting as well, the programming. So a husband is fighting the programming that's been downloaded or instilled in the female and the wife, and then the wife's fighting the programming that's been turned in to the guy. It's basically princess programming for the woman to run away from the family and marry the bad boy, and then basically the prince goes out and has to earn the stuff while the girl at home just basically parties and stuff. So in other words, you're not actually talking to a person, you're talking to the programming. And it makes sense because women, working moms are happier, healthier than stay-at-home peers. So you see, the prince isn't bringing in enough bread, so now the princess has to go out, and she likes it. She actually enjoys it. But that's all part of the program. I actually received a message from a viewer or listener who said that she got remarried or married to someone who basically worked and allowed her to stay at home finally, and she said she enjoys it and she's very happy. So working moms are happier, but also gay marriage improves health. Says U.S. researchers legalizing same-sex marriage may create a healthier environment. Promiscuous Britain, 1 in 4 young women admit they have underage sex more than twice as many as their mother's generation. Baby name rights for lesbian couples in South Australia. Says here that South Australian female same-sex couples who conceive a child through medical fertilization will be able to have both their names registered as the parents from today. Twin boys, one transgender, become brother and sister. That's right. Their story marked by tearful emotions, bullying at their first school, and eventually a lawsuit. And they moved to a different town, was chronicled in the Boston Globe on. And this whole thing about the hermaphroditic agenda or the feminizing or the blending of the male and female is what? It's warfare is what it is. It's to bring down the man who's going to fight back, and it's going to get the woman basically not playing the role of a woman. Transgender lessons for pupils age 5 classes will overload children with adult issues, and like they already have sex ed in kindergarten at age 5. So now Macy's is having LGBT-friendly dressing room policy. This is after a Macy's in Texas employee was recently fired from her job for not permitting a young man in drag to enter the women's dressing room. Parents outrage over the teacher removing word gay from Deck the Halls. Hillary Clinton religious beliefs are standing in the way of protecting human rights of LGBT people. So here's one of our Princess programming icons, Miley, and your muff cabbage, how the female role models of Jersey Shore teach young girls to hate themselves. Thank you.